Hey, this is Bill Preston, and I made this short video to give you everything you need to know about Unlock Her Legs. I actually got a hold of Bobby Rio. He's a good friend of mine. We go way back. And Bobby, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. How's it going, man?
Good, man. So what is Unlock Her Legs?
Unlock Her Legs is actually, Rob, Judge, and I, it was like a program that we were almost forced to create because, I don't know if your listeners are aware, we have another program called Magnetic Messaging that we had released a couple of years ago. And what we found was that guys were like getting amazing results with it, but like 90% of our questions was, there's this one girl that I really like, and I did something that I messed up with her, or she put me in the friend zone, or I thought she was attracted to me, but now she's not. And it was just like over and over and over. We were seeing the same kind of situation.
Sure.
And we're like, you know, there's two problems that we have to solve. One is most of these guys were not looking to go out to a nightclub or a bar and get a girl. They wanted to get the girl that's in their social circle, the girl they're kind of friends with, a coworker, a classmate. So you're kind of battling a different battle because she's got a preconceived notion of you. You're not starting from scratch. And what we realized, like most of the programs that are out there and that have been released kind of assume that you're starting from scratch with a girl. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to design something that kind of, we like to say, like erases her mental chalkboard of what she thinks about you and kind of gives you that clean slate. So that was our goal going into Unlock Her Legs, was to not only be able to erase it, but then take it in the new direction that you want to take it in with her.
Right, because you're not just going to be able to change your opinion of you unless you do something drastic, and that's where I think we're leading in the Scrambler technique. I've checked it out, but maybe give the guys kind of a breakdown of what the Scrambler technique actually is and why it works.
Yeah, the Scrambler was based on, I mean, there's a lot of psychology over the years. I mean, I've been, and Rob has both been teaching this for 7 years, and we both have seen a lot of stuff of what works with girls. You know, there's things like you hear people say like, oh, you got to play hard to get, or, you know, girls want what they can't have. You got to display a willingness to walk away. You got to do this, you got to do that. And all those things work when you do it right. Most guys, though, first off, the minute they like a girl, they think, oh, she's different, I don't have to do any of those things. So right there, they wind up killing themselves. And then second off is that when they're actually with her, they kind of know the advice, but they don't really know what formula to use it in. When do I pull back? When do I show the interest? When do I not show the interest? So we started working with a couple of our, our coaching clients, guys that hire Rob. They fly out to Vegas and work with them. And we're like, let's map out kind of what we need to do. And so we kind of said, okay, well, what's the first thing you need to do? And the first thing you need to do is give yourself that fresh start. So we said, well, how do you do that? And we kind of started experimenting with different ways to do it. And, I'll just give the first thing you got to do with a girl that kind of has this set opinion of you is you've got to confuse her. You've got to interrupt her pattern. We say that a girl has a pattern she falls into when, let's say if you're in the friend zone with her. Mm-hmm. The minute you begin hanging out with her, she answers your call. She's expecting things to go a certain way. And that's the pattern that it's going to go into. She's going to react to you that way. And you've got to break that pattern. And the best way to do it is to confuse her in some way. You basically want the thought to go through her mind, maybe I don't know him as well as I thought I did. Because then you open up the opportunity to begin changing her opinion. And that is, the following steps of the Scrambler. And obviously, we don't have time to go into all that right now. But the Scrambler is just a series of psychological things. The end goal of the entire program is the idea of getting a girl to fall in love with you or get infatuated with you. And a lot of guys get that completely wrong because they think, well, what can I say to a girl to make her like me? I get tons of questions. What can I do or what can I say? And the thing about getting a girl to fall in love with you, or even when we fall in love with a girl, is that you got to realize it does not happen when you're with the girl. It happens when she's away from you thinking about you. Mm-hmm. That's when she begins to realize, oh shit, I'm falling in love with this guy.
Right.
So you've got to plant things to give her things to think about. Most guys do the complete opposite. They make her so secure. They want to make her so certain that like they're the one, that she goes home and she's got nothing to dwell on, nothing to analyze. She doesn't get to go to her friends and go, what did it mean when Bill said? What did it mean when Bobby said?
Right.
She doesn't get to do any of that. And that's the point where she begins to convince herself she's falling in love with you. So the Scrambler is designed to give her all these things that she's going to sit at home and decode and analyze with her friends and kind of get her playing you over and over, replaying conversations she had with you, because then she starts to sort of just, it becomes like a love loop, we call, where, you know, anybody who's fallen for a girl, we know how it is. And you fall for the girl when you're at home wondering what happened, when she's not answering your call and you're going, what did I do? And the more that's going on, the more value she's gaining in your eyes. And it works just as effectively for women, is the more she's sitting around wondering about you, the more your value is going up in her eyes. So that's what the Scrambler is designed to do.
Yeah, you know, it's great you put it that way, because I've seen that work many times. And, you know, obviously curiosity generates attraction, but so does doubt. If you're not sure what the person thinks of you, and, you know, then they're going to think about you and wonder, does that person like me? Or why did they act that way towards me? And I've seen that work in my own life in the past, where I might even have been not super nice to a certain girl, or she had this opinion of me just being kind of a player or whatever, and then I would completely flip the script and be really nice and genuine to her, and she would be completely confused, and sure enough, she'd end up, you know, wanting to be with me because I completely changed everything she thought about me. So it sounds like it's versions of that, and more laid out as a recipe that any guy can follow. Whether
it's like, I say that girls have a desire when they meet a guy, right? They have like two columns in their head. He likes me not, right? And if they can place you in the he likes me column too quickly, they eliminate you.
Right.
If they place you in the he likes me not column, and I used to make this mistake, I used to think, oh, you just have to act like you're not interested, and then she'll like you. But if you only act like you're not interested, she's just like, he's not interested, and you're in the he doesn't like me column.
Yep.
You want to kind of toggle back and forth between the two columns, and you want to constantly wondering, like you said, you know, one day it's hot, one day it's cold, and the more you're doing that, the more she's like, what column does he go into? And it almost becomes like a game or an obsession with her.
Yeah, I mean, they say it all the time, like, love and hate are almost the same emotions, whereas indifference is the opposite emotion. So if you're creating indifference, then she doesn't care. But if she's mad at you for something, I've always found that if a girl's a little bit mad at me, I can get her attracted to me really, really quickly.
Yeah, I've watched that. I've been in situations where I've seen girls like talking shit, like, I hate that. And next thing you know, that they're leaving with the guy, and it's like exactly what you said. Love and hate are so much on the same end of the spectrum.
You know, and I think I was going to ask you what makes this different than other dating products. It sounds like you kind of already covered that. Is there anything else you want to cover that makes this kind of unique?
Well, there's one other thing, and when we put this, like we've talked a lot about the psychology right now of what the Scrambler is, but Unlock Her Legs is sort of a combination. There's two parts of it. There's the psychology, which is the Scrambler, and some other parts of the seduction weapons videos, which talk about the psychological weapons. But then there's also the lust system, which is the second part of the program. And the lust system is when you're in front of her, what do I do? Because it's very easy to say, oh, you gotta confuse her, you gotta be hot. But then the guy's like, well, I'm actually on a date with her now. What the hell do I do? So the lust system is say, okay, you're out with her. Here's how you go from being out with her to getting her home, back to your bedroom, to even how you act the next morning after you sleep with her, because, you know, we don't want to leave anything for chance.
So it sounds like the Scrambler technique's more of an overall strategy to get women intrigued and curious and thinking about you and falling in love with you, and the lust is more of the tactical guide, what to do step by step.
Yeah, the Scrambler is all the psychology you're going to be using on her, and like you said, it's when she's not with you, things you're doing that she's not with you, she's thinking about it. It's your sort of your overall strategy. The lust system is like, okay, like, she's interested now. And the reason we decided we had to include lust system was because when we first taught this to guys, they were doing all the mind game stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was working, and they were like getting dates, but then they'd go out on the dates with the girl, and they would be like, not know now, oh shit, what the hell do I do now? Like, how do I actually get her home? She's interested. So the lust system is, okay, now you actually got out. Here's the tactics. Here's how you go for the kiss in like sort of an under-the-radar, rejection-proof way, so that, you know, a lot of these guys are using this on like a female friend, and their fear is like going for that kiss and it being completely awkward. So we kind of teach them ways to move into all these like escalation in a very subtle way.
Cool. Now you kind of covered this, but maybe just summarize real quickly for anybody that's listening to this, you know, who is this product specifically made for?
It's specifically made for the guy who has a girl on his mind. Now, it doesn't. You don't necessarily have to have a specific girl, but you've got to have the idea of using it on a specific girl. This isn't a program like if you're looking for a program on how to go out and, you know, approach girls all night or go to bars and clubs and like meet random girls. It's not for you. It's for the guy who kind of wants that one girl. Now, I'm not going to say you have to use it on one girl. A lot of our students like build up a rotation of girls to use it on, but it's to specifically go after a girl, and specifically it works best if it's a girl that you have you already have some kind of relationship with. Like I said, a coworker, an ex-girlfriend, a female friend, a classmate. Just a girl that lives in your building that you see, somebody that you see often, because a lot of the Scrambler strategies rely on this sort of stuff, as opposed to like going out to a club and seeing a girl once that you may never see again. It's going to be a lot harder to use it on a girl like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's even more effective on a girl who's already placed you in a category that doesn't include being her boyfriend.
Yeah, it's exactly right, because like I said, the main reason when we started designing this was because it was guys who basically either got the friend zone speech, or they were with a girl, they had gone on a couple dates with her, they thought things were going well, and then all of a sudden she started kind of going cold on them and becoming less interested. And it was like, well, how can we like take the power back? How can we regain the upper hand from her? So yeah, definitely for a guy who kind of lost the upper hand with a girl and how to get that upper hand back.
Right. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time, and I know we've talked about this earlier, and you're going to hook up the guys listening to this with I think a $10 off discount link that is only available on this video. So thanks for doing that, Bobby. I really appreciate it, and it's great talking to you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me.
Well, guys, there you have it. Get yourself a copy of Unlock Her Legs, save $10 only with this exclusive link.